Distinguished guests, let us welcome the Right Honourable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Chief Minister of Sarawak. A huge round of applause for our guest of honour this afternoon. Shall we all remain upstanding in honor of our national anthem Negaraku and Sarawak's anthem Ibu Pertiwiku. Thank you, and we invite all our guests to be seated. A very good afternoon. Warmest greetings. Salam Sarawakku sayang. The Right Honourable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Chief Minister of Sarawak, come Chairman of Sarawak Economic Action Council SEAC, Honourable Deputy Chief Ministers, Honourable Ministers, the Honourable Dato' Amar Jaul Samion, State Secretary of Sarawak, come Secretary of the Sarawak Economic Action Council SEAC, Honourable Assistant Ministers, most distinguished guests, heads of departments, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launching ceremony of the Action and Implementation Plan for Pcds 2030. And indeed, this afternoon, on this beautiful day, we are blessed to be here in this momentous ceremony, and we thank the Almighty for His continuous blessings upon Sarawak. To begin, we are pleased to invite all distinguished guests to join us as we unite in prayers according to our respective faiths. And for that, we call upon Sahibul Fadilah Datuk Haji Mustafa Kamal bin Haji Muhammad Fauzi, Imam Besar of Sarawak, to lead the doa recitation.
آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Allahumma ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, Tuhan yang maha berkuasa lagi maha agung, kami bersyukur padamu ya Allah di atas segala nikmat kurniaan-Mu kepada negeri dan negara kami yang aman damai serta selamat sejahtera. Ya Allah, pada hari yang mulia ini kami berhimpun di majlis pelancaran Action and Implementation Plan for Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030 yang akan disempurnakan oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Ketua Menteri Sarawak. Allahumma ya Allah ya Rahman wa ya Rahim. Ya Allah, kami memohon agar Engkau merahmati dan memberkati majlis kami ini. Permudahkanlah ya Allah segala tindakan dan pelaksanaan yang dirancang. Perkuatkanlah di jiwa kami semangat bekerja sama, bersatu hati dalam menjayakan segala gerak kerja dan perancangan yang telah diilhamkan oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Ketua Menteri kami untuk kemajuan dan pembangunan negeri Sarawak yang kami sayangi menjelang 2030. Ya Allah, bantulah dan bimbinglah kami pada jalan yang Engkau redai. Kurniakanlah kami dengan nikmat kesehatan dan keafiatan yang berpanjangan. Hindarkanlah kami daripada segala musibah, segala bencana alam dan wabak-wabak penyakit, khususnya wabak COVID-19 yang masih melanda ini. Sembuhkanlah ya Allah kepada mereka yang diuji dengan penyakit-penyakit. Allahumma ya badi'as samawati wal ard. Ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, Engkau peliharakanlah semangat persefahaman dan perpaduan di antara kami yang berbilang bangsa, budaya dan agama. Akhirnya kami pohonkan dengan limpahan rahmat serta taufik dan hidayah-Mu ke atas Yang Amat Berhormat Ketua Menteri kami dan isteri, Yang Amat Berbahagia Puan Seri Dato' Amar, kepada pemimpin-pemimpin serta rakyat sekalian, selamatkanlah kami, negeri dan negara kami. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma wa tafaruqana min ba'dihi tafaruqan ma'suma. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Terima kasih majlis ucapkan thank you Sahibul Fadilah Datuk Haji Mustafa Kamal. Most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategies 2030 or PCDS 2030, the aspiration was unveiled on Sarawak Day 2021 by the Right Honourable Chief Minister, aiming among others to ensure that Sarawak recovers from the pandemic stronger economically. And here we are today to witness the launch of the Action and Implementation Plan towards achieving our aspiration as contained in PCDS 2030. This will be elaborated further next. And for that, It is with pleasure and honor that we invite the Honorable Dato' Amar Jaul Samion, State Secretary of Sarawak, cum Secretary of SEAC, to present on the PCDS 2030 Action and Implementation Plan. The Honorable Dato' Amar Jaul, please.
Thank you, MC Sophia. The Right Honorable Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zuhari bin Tun Dato' Abang Haji Openg, Chief Minister of Sarawak, cum Chairman of the Sarawak Economic Action Council, the Honorable Deputy Chief Ministers, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Assistant Ministers, members of the Sarawak Economic Action Council, all the heads of departments and agencies, our media practitioners, distinguished guests, as well as all those following the event live through social media, wherever you may be. Selamat tengah hari, salam sejahtera, dan salam Sarawakku sayang. A very warm welcome and good afternoon to the official launching ceremony of Action and Implementation Plan for the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030, or in short, PCDS 2030. First and foremost, I would like to thank our Right Honorable Chief Minister for taking his very precious time this afternoon to be with us to officially launch the Action and Implementation Plan, or in short, AIP, for the PCDS 2030. Yang amat berhormat, ladies and gentlemen, the year 2020 had seen global growth disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, evolving from a global health crisis that has significantly weakened the growth prospects of the vast majority of countries in the world. Sarawak, of course, was not spared from the crisis. Therefore, on 6 May 2020, our Right Honorable Chief Minister established the Sarawak Economic Action Council, SEAC, to formulate the PCDS 2030. The formulation of the PCDS 2030 is to ensure that Sarawak can embark on transformation, leveraging on mega trends around the world, such as globalization, supply chain resilience, the new industrial revolution, digitalization, circular economy, and transition towards green economy to emerge out from the economic doldrum. PCDS 2030 is a very important plan that charts the way forward, propel and sustain Sarawak's socio-economic growth and development for the next 10 years, from 2021 to 2030. This is indeed a very bold step forward taken by our Right Honorable Chief Minister to propel Sarawak towards achieving high income status by the year 2030. The formulation of PCDS 2030 involves various stakeholders, such as government officials, business communities, captains of industries, academicians, and civil society. Throughout this journey, over 20,000 man-hours were spent involving more than 1,000 stakeholders from more than 250 organizations, both from the public and the private sectors. Together, they have formulated cohesive and robust strategies to overcome the adverse impacts of the coronavirus pandemic and to chart the way forward for Sarawak. I am indeed grateful for being entrusted as the chairman of the working committee of this game-changing plan for Sarawak. Pcds 2030 is a very ambitious plan that requires us to double the size of our economy, way beyond from what we have achieved in the past. From a GDP of 136 billion ringgit in 2019 to 282 billion ringgit in 2030. To achieve this, Sarawak needs to grow its economy at an average of 8.0% per annum until 2030. As such, careful planning, execution, and implementation of the plan are required. This is to ensure that the plan achieves its development objectives, where the economic prosperity that we generate can equitably be distributed and enjoyed by all segments of our society. We have formulated many major and new game-changing initiatives in the plan to achieve economic prosperity. These include the use of technology to modernize and scale up our resource-based sectors, attracting quality investments, and develop entrepreneurial community. We are also creating conducive ecosystem for the business through several initiatives, such as industrial infrastructure development, ease of doing business, and attractive incentives for the SMEs. We are now in the process of establishing Invest Sarawak to facilitate high-value private investments in the state. This is in line with the role of the private sector as the engine of growth in PCDS 2030. We will also be formulating a new Sarawak digital economy blueprint for the next 10 years to keep abreast with current trends and to further support our Chief Minister's commitment to digital economy. These initiatives are our commitment to improve business ecosystem, reduce bureaucracy, and to adapt new technology to improve service delivery and efficiency. The plan was also formulated to ensure the development benefits are enjoyed by the rakyat, regardless of their social economic background or geographical location. The initiatives include expanding the basic infrastructure and social services such as health and education in urban and rural areas. At the same time, the plan also emphasizes on strong community participation in our economic development programs to increase their income level. We also prioritize environmental sustainability in our development plan, which includes, for example, replanting of 200,000 hectares of degraded forest and implement carbon credits programs. Under the plan, it is envisaged that the state will pursue balanced economic growth by adopting a responsible approach in developing our natural resources. Following this, we need to develop Sarawak's sustainable environment blueprint to guide us in developing our economy in a more sustainable manner. Yang Amat Berhormat Ketua Menteri, ladies and gentlemen, we have taken a step further to dive into the formulation of the Action and Implementation Plan, AIP, for PCDS 2030. This is indeed another important milestone, as it is the first time that we have such a comprehensive plan to detail out the steps of actions for the implementation. We understand project implementation has never been easy, as projects can be ambitious, they can be complex and diverse. Strong ownership and accountability from project management agencies and ownership by government agencies are necessary drivers of quality, effectiveness, timeliness, and efficiency in meeting the development objectives. We also fully understand the difficulties that executing and implementing agencies face in their roles as project implementers. At the same time, we must play a crucial role in providing solutions to the inevitable consequences of a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment, or the VUCA environment. Now, we are at a critical point on the implementation of PCDS 2030. It is an exciting moment for us as we depart in a planned way from our previous development plan, from which we have learned so much and through which we have achieved so much. The IIP is about action steps to implement strategies and initiatives of the plan to ensure systematic implementation, reduce risk of failure, and to ensure alignment with the desired outcomes, and to provide a strategic roadmap towards 2030. AIP is a detailed plan outlining specific actions needed to achieve PCDS 2030 outcomes and aspirations, namely, 1, to ensure that implementing agencies are very clear about their planned outcomes. Number 2, to be certain on the actions on how to achieve the outcomes and aspirations. And 3, to ensure continuity in the implementation plan to cater for possible changes in the leadership of the implementing agencies in the future. People may come and go, but the plan, AIP, remains for at least 10 years. In executing AIP, it is extremely crucial for the ministries and its agencies to be mindful of the need to change the way we work. For this, I will require that ministries and agencies to undertake 7 key actions. Action number 1 is to actively review, refine, or propose new policies for the sectors. Action number 2, constantly study or review the existing ordinance or propose new ordinance even to cater for the new policies or to circumvent hurdles in our implementation process. Number 3, to improve, change, or totally revamp current procedures to be relevant to the current situation, such as improvement on the procedures for ease of doing business. Number 4, actively engage the civil society and initiate deliberate actions to help our community, particularly the poor and the B40, to improve the level of income and meaningfully involve them in the ministries or agencies program. Number 5, ministries are urged to develop clear key performance indicators, KPIs, and targets, as well as very definite actions, together with timelines for each activity to track the progress and achievement of individual officers or sectors or sections in the department. Number 6, to promote active collaboration across ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as close collaboration with the federal agencies to ensure that the state interests are taken into consideration. The days of silo mentality are over. State interests should now override departmental interest. Number 7, to have active engagement with the private sector to develop workable business models for economic projects such as agro-parks, petrochemical hubs, digital transformation, etc., and etc. Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time that we have a comprehensive AIP for ministries, departments, and agencies. It is deemed necessary so that action steps to implement the plan are clearly thought out and identified. The working committee thought that formulating the AIP was impossible, as we have no precedents to rely on. Thank God, everyone worked hard and well and put their heads together through many hours of hard work and coordination. For this, I would like to salute all the team members with the guidance of our SEAC chairman and members. Thank you to all. Most importantly, the desired outcomes of the various initiatives are given prominence. This is what makes PCDS 2030 different from other past development plans. AIP is a very useful tool that will map out our strategies into steps or phases towards achieving our immediate, medium, and long-term goals. It will serve as a guide or reference to keep us on track and not to deviate from our established aspiration. All the 6 economic sectors and the 7 enablers in PCDS 2030 have unique AIP initiative. PCDS 2030 has also outlined special AIP for poverty alleviation, as we aspire to ensure that by 2030, our poor household in Sarawak will be alleviated from poverty. This will be done through deliberate intervention by nurturing good values and attitude, creation of right ecosystem for human capital development, and encourage participation in income-generating activities. Yang Berhormat, ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the second year of PCDS 2030 implementation. With EIP in place, the ministries, departments, and agencies are now more equipped with the knowledge on the requirement to implement initiatives, as well as to manage it for economic prosperity, social inclusivity, and environmental sustainability, which are the 3 pillars of the PCDS 2030. All ministries, departments, and agencies are now required to form a dedicated team to manage their respective AIPs to ensure their initiatives are implemented according to scope, resources, and the timeline, and to support the 3 pillars of PCDS 2030. At the state level, I reckon that we need a strong monitoring mechanism to track the implementation status of the various programs. We acknowledge that civil service is the implementer of the PCDS 2030 initiative. Our role is to ensure the successful implementation of these initiatives and to facilitate private investment to grow the economy. The civil service also needs to ensure that these initiatives benefit the Rakyat with strong emphasis on strong community participation in the various socio-economic sectors. Beyond IIP, ministries, departments, and agencies need creative solutions to finance these initiatives, as our financial resources cannot support all these initiatives. Agencies should not depend entirely on state funding, but need to explore wider options, such as federal government, private sector, and others. The preparation of the 12th plan midterm review will commence in third quarter of this year to review the existing and considering new initiatives for approval in 2023. The PCDS 2030 will be the guiding principle, and AIP will be incorporated in all these new proposals. In conclusions, I would like to thank our Right Honorable Chief Minister for his strong support and guidance in preparing PCDS 2030 and his endorsement of the AIP implementation and formulation. I would also like to thank the Deputy Chief Ministers, other Cabinet members, and all members of the SEAC Council for their constructive roles, inputs, and contribution in the formulation of the plan. May I also commend the SEAC Working Committee, ministries, departments, and agencies for their hard work and perseverance in preparing the AIP for their respective initiatives. My appreciation also goes to the central team, EPU Sarawak, and PricewaterhouseCoopers for their relentless efforts and support for this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed to the Honorable Dato' Amar Jauh Samion for the elaboration on PCDS 2030 Action and Implementation Plan. Most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, now we have the greatest honor and pleasure to invite the Right Honourable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Dato' Abang Haji Openg, Chief Minister of Sarawak, come the Chairman of SEAC to deliver the keynote address and thereafter do the honour of symbolically launch the AIP. The Right Honourable Chief Minister, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat tengah hari. Salam sejahtera. Salam Sarawakku sayang. Yang berhormat Timbalan Ketua Menteri, yang berhormat rakan-rakan menteri, yang berhormat Setiausaha Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak Datuk Amar Jauh Samion, yang berhormat Menteri-Menteri Muda, ahli Majlis Tindakan Ekonomi Sarawak, Ketua-Ketua Jabatan dan juga mereka dari private sector, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang saya hormati sekalian. Terlebih dahulu saya ingin mengucap syukur kerana dengan limpah dan kurnia Allah kita dapat bersama-sama di Majlis Pelancaran Action and Implementation Plan for Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030 pada tengah hari ini. Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030, I have launched the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030 or PCDS 2030 last year on 22nd July. Our aspiration is by 2030, Sarawak will be a thriving society where everyone enjoys economic prosperity, social inclusivity, and a sustainable environment driven by data and innovation. The Rakyat have given us a big mandate in the last state election to implement the plan. Today, is the testimony of our GPS government's commitment to honor the pledge. I always think of the best way to improve the socio-economic status of our people. For this reason, all initiatives in PCDS 2030 are for the rakyat. We are accelerating our infrastructure development to improve the standard of living, grow our economy to provide businesses and job opportunities, and train our people to be resourceful and increase their income level. Under the 12th National Plan, we have earmarked 63 billion ringgit to implement this rakyat-centric initiative under PCDS 2030 Phase 1. This amount is over and above the federal government allocation for federal projects in the state. Therefore, we need to have an efficient implementation plan so that we can deliver the projects based on the funding, time, and specifications. Many of delayed projects are due to poor project management and deprive rakyat from enjoying the projects meant for them. Project management should be holistic, taking into consideration all aspects of projects implementation, stakeholders involved, resources, as well as requirements of law and procedures. For that reason, I would like to thank Yang Berhormat Dato' Amal Jau Samion, State Secretary, who has diligently leading the entire civil service to formulate a comprehensive action and implementation plan AIP for PCDS 2030. Thank you to all members of civil service. Ladies and gentlemen, AIP is an innovative way for the state to ensure all our initiatives are aligned to PCDS 2030 aspiration. I am confident that we can deliver the development objectives of the plan as we have clear, measurable outcomes for the initiatives and action steps to achieve the goals laid out in AIP. I have also reorganized my ministries with the aim to focus on areas where it matters most in PCDS 2030. This is how I formed the present cabinet. The reorganization will further strengthen our service delivery, especially in this challenging time, and addressing high expectation of the rakyat. The AIP of the ministries and the departments and agencies under them will give greater transparency and accountability, because what gets measured gets done. according to specification, time, and resources. Notwithstanding the success of projects implementation, Sarawak economy will not grow and accelerate without the support from the private sector. The private sector has to play their roles to add value to our initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, private sector-driven economy. Moving forward, we should emphasize on developing business models that focuses on harnessing the value of our natural resources. The development of the industries shall be planned based on its upstream opportunities as well as its midstream and downstream production and exportability. Hence, we invite private players and conglomerates to collaborate with us to unlock such opportunities. Currently, 70% of LNG supplies in Malaysia comes from Sarawak. And yet, we are only consuming less than 5% of Malaysia's total production. There is a pressing need to intensify localization of gas supply and utilization to further industrialize Sarawak in the next 5 to 10 years, in order for us to increase high-value downstream economic activities. At the same time, we are also exploring new oil and gas blocks onshore and offshore to ensure volumes are available for Sarawak's journey towards industrialization. Sarawak government has established the Sarawak Gas Roadmap, SGR 2030, with the aim to localize 1,200 million standard cubic feet per day by 2030. There are 25 billion USD investment opportunities for private sectors to catalyze on our economy through various petrochemical downstream industries. Midstream petrochemical industries such as methanol, ammonia, hydrogen, and polyethylene will further enhance our existing downstream manufacturing ecosystem and create more business opportunities. Once implemented, Sarawak will create additional 15,000 jobs in oil and gas sector by 2030. Having petrochemical derivatives capacities also position Sarawak in the global manufacturing supply chain ecosystem. Sarawak government had signed the Commercial Settlement Agreement CSA with Petronas on 7 December 2020. The CSA, among others, provides Sarawak with a greater share of revenues from oil and gas found in Sarawak. It also provides for a more active involvement by Sarawak in the oil and gas industry by creating and maintaining a stable, conducive business and investment environment for the sustainable growth of the oil and gas industry, both upstream and downstream in Sarawak. As the world is shifting towards net zero emission by 2050, energy transition plays a pivotal role in driving demand for green energy exponentially. Green hydrogen has been earmarked to be part of a new world ecosystem, with recent pledges by the likes of BlackRock CEO Larry Fink on his investment in logistics sectors, while Microsoft CEO Bill Gates also committed to transition his data center from conventional energy sources to fuel cells. Sarawak has an opportunity to tap on these new frontiers to produce hydrogen derivatives, leveraging on our off-peak hours renewable energy, which are underutilized. In the forestry sector, we are practicing sustainable management and conservation that have achieved world recognition. The sector will provide inclusive growth by creating economic opportunities. We have set aside and maintained more than 50% forest and tree cover, which includes national parks, nature reserve, and wildlife sanctuaries. The focus of forest management practices and stewardship is anchored on balancing the rate of deforestation and productivity. As such, we target 1 million hectares of private-driven tree plantation initiative. The average carbon sequestration of tropical forests, such as forests in Sarawak, is approximately 11 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, CO2e, per hectare. Based on 1 million hectares of high-yield and sustainable industrial forest plantation, the target for carbon trading potential is approximately 140 to 230 million ringgit, based on the current average price of carbon. This is an immediately implementable initiative which represents only 10% of the forestry sector under the Green Economy Initiative in Sarawak. Sarawak government will collaborate with credible private sectors to capitalize on these carbon market potentials, including payment for ecosystem services within the legal framework to ensure transparency and accountability. We must leverage on our 2 million hectares of agricultural land potential to produce food and agricultural downstream products. We are establishing direct linkages with regional retailers to build direct supplier models. We encourage private sector with capital, expertise and technology, as well as off-takers to venture into upstream production of our premium fruits, vegetables, livestock, and seafood to be developed from farm to table, especially for targeted high-income countries. We shall not limit ourselves to just producing fresh products, which has limited shelf life. There are vast opportunities for us to explore, especially in agriculture, downstream manufacturing activities such as food processing, supplements, pharmaceutical, cosmetic, and various bioorganic products. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, oleh itu saya menyeru supaya usahawan tani meningkatkan kapasiti dan kualiti hasil pertanian mereka melalui model pertanian komersial yang berasaskan data dan inovasi. Mereka juga perlu meneroka serta terbuka untuk bekerjasama dengan syarikat-syarikat multinasional yang mempunyai rangkaian pasaran global. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic has exposed weaknesses of global supply chain, of which efficiency and resilience are important components of supply chain industry. Hence, we shall position Sarawak as a key supplier to its regional neighbors and globally as the world looks to rebalance and diversify supply chains. It is therefore imperative for Sarawak to have an effective physical and digital infrastructure as well as connectivity to ensure seamless trading flow in the areas of production, manufacturing, financing, logistics, and digital communication to prepare Sarawak as a key global supplier. We are confident the private sector with their capital would develop their capacity and capability to invest in various opportunities in Sarawak. We anticipate more DDI and FDI inflow to Sarawak, especially in technology and innovation, as well as digital that will transform our economic structure, increase resources production in a more efficient way to capture scale and efficiency gains and move downstream for export market. This will grow our services sector to support these industries to provide the much needed high income jobs for highly skilled Sarawakians. Saudara sekalian, ramai anak muda Sarawak mempunyai kepakaran dalam pelbagai bidang seperti bioteknologi, teknologi maklumat, industri kreatif, data saintis, dan banyak lagi, dan kita mahu mencipta peluang untuk anak-anak kita ini bagi menyumbang kepakaran masing-masing di Sarawak. Sarawak juga melaksanakan, pagi tadi saya melancarkan, program Housing Deposit Assistance Scheme untuk menyediakan bantuan deposit perumahan sehingga RM10,000 bagi pembelian rumah pertama yang bernilai kurang daripada RM300,000 khas untuk golongan B40 dan M40. Inisiatif ini akan memberi manfaat kepada rakyat, khususnya golongan muda yang baru mendirikan keluarga. Program ini hendaklah dilihat dari perspektif ekonomi, kerana ia bukan hanya dapat membantu mereka yang memerlukan rumah, malah dapat menjana aktiviti ekonomi dalam sektor pembinaan yang seterusnya memberi impak kepada industri-industri lain seperti pembekal bahan binaan dan perkhidmatan pembangkang, insuran, kejuruteraan dan guaman. Inilah usaha murni kerajaan kita untuk membantu meningkatkan taraf hidup rakyat melalui skim perumahan yang tersusun dilengkapi dengan kemudahan asas, di samping membuka peluang-peluang pekerjaan dan perniagaan untuk meningkatkan pendapatan mereka. Inisiatif ini juga dapat membantu kerajaan menangani kemiskinan dan masalah sosial rakyat dan seterusnya membawa Sarawak ke arah mencapai kemakmuran ekonomi, keterangkuman sosial dan kelestarian alam sekitar. Therefore, the IP of ministries, departments and agencies must explore these potentials and take necessary action steps to facilitate private sectors in realizing all this potential to accelerate our economic growth and development. Ladies and gentlemen, we should not rest on our laurels. We are living in a global economy that are very volatile and uncertain due to rapid changes in technology, coupled with economic and financial crisis, as well as political instability, pandemic, and natural disasters. We in Sarawak are very fortunate because we have the political stability, and that is our strength to move forward in this challenging time. We must stay united and build our economy together for today and our future generation. Together, we can do more for our beloved Sarawak. Jaga Sarawak into Sarawak, Sarawak first. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Chief Minister. Please remain on stage, and we now call upon Honourable Dato' Amar Jaul to invite the Honourable Deputy Chief Ministers to proceed on stage for the following items. And to symbolically signify the launch and unveil the PCDS 2030 Action and Implementation Plan, we now invite the Right Honourable Chief Minister, accompanied by our distinguished guests, to proceed to the designated space. And we invite all our honourable ministers to accompany on stage as well. All ministers, please proceed on stage. And next, for the symbolic launch, we invite the Right Honourable Chief Minister to scan the proximity card that will be provided. Please scan the card on the EPU logo on the launching podium.
The year 2020 was defined by the coronavirus pandemic, arguably the worst pandemic the world has seen in 100 years. The COVID-19 outbreak triggered major halts and ripples in scheduled operations, but the government of Sarawak swiftly devised new approaches and adjusted strategies towards realizing its transformation into a high-income digital economy state. Led by the Sarawak Economic Action Council, high-impact measures encompassing all sectors are identified to overcome challenges arising from the pandemic. These initiatives are geared towards revival and sustenance by leveraging on digital and transformational practices, optimizing advantages of renewable energy resources, data usage to improve productivity, conserving biodiversity, socio-economic growth, and building resilient human capital. PCDS is an all-inclusive plan that fulfills gaps in soft and hard developments ranging from provision of roads, bridges, water, electricity, Internet of Things, smart government, e-financing, new resources, as well as enhanced environmental sustainability. Key outcomes of PCDS will be achieved through steps elaborated in the Action and Implementation Plan, AIP, composed by professionals from both public and private sectors. The AIP serves as a holistic guide to agencies and the people of Sarawak as we journey through a full-fledged transformation that will allow the state to be a key player in the fourth industrial revolution, digitalization, circular economy, global megatrends, and supply chain resilience. The government has gone to great lengths to ensure that PCDS will benefit every level of society. In line with the rising standards of living in households affected by the pandemic, emerging new industries will provide ample job opportunities, improve livelihoods in both rural and urban communities, and contribute to the growth of Sarawak's economic landscape. With coordinated execution, this plan will equip its people to face other global challenges and further propel Sarawak's rapid development as we move forward in achieving Vision 2030.
The PCDS 2030 AIP has been launched and at the same time unveiling the 3-volume report. And next, we invite the Honourable Dato' Amar Jaul Samion to present the PCDS 2030 Action and Implementation Plan report to the Right Honourable Chief Minister. The report comes in 3 volumes, the first being the main report detailing PCDS 2030 aspirations. Volume 2 contains the action and implementation for economic sector, and Volume 3 for enablers and poverty alleviation. And the reports are also available to all guests on pen drives that are being distributed as we speak. So now we would like to invite our guests of honor and distinguished guests to capture this moment in photography. Once again, our most sincere thanks to the Right Honourable Chief Minister for doing the honour of launching at our event this afternoon. We now call upon the Honourable Dato' Amar Jaul Samion to escort the Right Honourable Chief Minister and all our distinguished dignitaries on stage as they leave the ballroom this afternoon. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, join us in according a huge round of applause to our guests of honor as our gesture of thanks and gratitude. For the information of the audience as well, volumes 2 and 3 each detail key outcomes, strategies, catalytic initiatives, and key levers. Please do ensure that you only leave with the pen drives containing these 3 volumes. Okay, sekali lagi, let us capture this with a photo session. A big smile from everyone. Smile with your eyes if you have your face mask on. Once again, congratulations to SEAC for a job well done, and our most sincere thanks once again to the Right Honourable Chief Minister. As we are going digital, once again, the reports are made available to everyone in soft copy. And now we call upon the Honourable Dato' Amal Jaul Samion to escort the Right Honourable Chief Minister and all our distinguished dignitaries as they leave the ballroom. Once again, we would like to thank everyone present here today. May it be another fruitful week ahead, and until we meet again, have a pleasant week ahead. Thank you, and salam Sarawakku sayang.